the United Arab Emirates will become the third Arab nation to have full diplomatic ties with Israel. The landmark accord was brokered by the Trump administration.
By uniting two of America's closest and most capable partners in the region, something which said could not be done, this deal is a significant step towards building a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East.
The UAE will normalize ties with Israel in exchange for Israel suspending its plans to annex parts of the occupied West Bank.
This is a win-win deal. It's a win-win deal for peace in the region, and it brings actually a ray of hope in a very difficult time in our region, not known really for good times anyway.
It also means the UAE and Israel will be able to have an open economic relationship. There'll be bilateral agreements in areas like tourism, energy, technology, communications, and security. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he expects other Arab states will follow the UAE's lead.
אני צופה שמדינות נוספות יצטרפו למעגל השלום איתנו. זהו מהפך היסטורי שמקדם את השלום גם עם העולם הערבי, ובסופו של דבר יקדם את השלום, שלום אמיתי, מפוקח, בטוח, גם עם הפלסטינים.
The accord is being touted as a foreign policy victory for both President Donald Trump ahead of the November election and for Netanyahu, who has boasted about his ability to build relations with Arab states. It comes after Trump unveiled his controversial Middle East plan in January that would pave the way for Israel to annex parts of the occupied West Bank and the Jordan Valley. This new deal has put a temporary hold on those plans, but Netanyahu has stressed they remain on the table.
אני מזכיר לכם שבהסכם הנוכחי לא רק שישראל לא נסוגה ממטר מרובע אחד, אלא שתוכנית טראמפ כוללת, לבקשתי, את החלת הריבונות של ישראל על שטחים נרחבים ביהודה ושומרון.
Palestinians have rejected the agreement. They've called it a betrayal.
Normalization with Israel is treason, and what the UAE did is the highest betrayal of the Palestinian people, a betrayal of an Arab pillar and the Palestinian cause.
The UAE's move runs counter to a 2002 Arab League-endorsed plan. Under that initiative, Arab states were to establish diplomatic ties with Israel in exchange for Israel's withdrawal from occupied territory and its acceptance of a Palestinian state.
Unfortunately, nowadays, most of the Arab countries are looking for their own interests at the expense of the Palestinian cause.
The UAE says it took a pragmatic decision with its own needs in mind. This will be remembered as an historic agreement for the Gulf nation, but also one that has blindsided Palestinians. Natalie Poyhonen, The Newsmakers.